Well, hello, beautiful light beings. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. It's a pleasure for me to come back again with another video of the Cosmic Library made by Andrea Barnabe and Nati Fabiano. So, today I'm coming with the fourth video of the library, and in this video, we're going to talk about the soul. Okay, to know what the soul is, where it is, when we come from certain religious, there is a lot of talk about the soul, but no one or nobody explain what is the soul. So the first question to start would be, what is the soul? Before, I want to explain again that the information Andrea is giving to us, she talk out of the religious dogmas. Okay, Andrea give us the information from quantum physics. There is no inclination for one thing, one religion or another. This is out of this talk. Okay. This is because we are a photocopy of the universe and its operations. And so the same the universe operates as the same that it happens here on Earth. Okay. But is the soul from quantum physics as the creation of all things that have life in the universe and the mechanics of operation. Okay. It is speaking of the human race, as each race has a function on each planet. The human race on Earth, which is the 33-layered human Adam Catmull, which is the format and genetic coding of our DNA, Adam Catmull. Okay, this is the name for our race as humans. Okay, as a human is a specific design with a specific code at the specific request of the source. The same Nevadon, which is the name of our source, and it means explandon. This is a word that has no translation, and it's mean the explanation of the light. Okay, our creator, who designed life in our universe. Okay, this is Nevadon. At his request, we are exactly a very tiny fractal brought down from antimatter to matter, since we are an extension of the source in matter. Okay, a fractal of Nevadon is reduced into smaller fractals as its frequency is removed to obtain a basic frequency that is the 3D frequency of the Earth. And that fractal of the light of the spirit of the source is packaged in a file of electrons, and then the spirit of the creator is packaged in what is the soul, containing a fractal of the light of the spirit, and then this content is assembled to a human body when the fetus is being formed in the womb of a mother. Okay? So it's like a Nevadon request our race and then make the fractals to occupy a human body which is really dense. They need to make the frequency lower. Okay? So Nevadon is what we call God. Sometimes religious give him other names, but Nevadon is his real name and is the creator, father, and the source. So the soul we share in each incarnation, we always use the same soul, and we change only the body. And likewise, once from the monad in the source, Nevadon creates a monad that is the very soul of the creator in a large electron sphere, which contains the replicated soul of Nevadon. From that monad, they are then divided and fractalized in small monads, and the last one is fractalized in 12 fractals as minimum or 144 fractals as maximum. Within those last fractals, the soul are created, and from there on the souls have no more alteration They are eternal, infinite, unalterable, and inexhaustible. They are not exhausted. The only thing that will always vary for that soul to have the greatest numbers of possible experience, not only on Earth, but throughout the universe and in all realms, the variation is depending on the incarnational plan of that soul according to whether it has come to experiment, in service, to learn, or on a mission. Another thing that varies in it's the container that soul comes to inhabit, so the body. But if we go beyond that, the soul is always the same and invariable. The only thing we are changing is the body in every incarnation. So, what experience did the Creator Nevadon want to have in order to create this group of souls? That's a really interesting. The Creator, with all the administrative staff of beings or the administrative staff or spiritual hierarchies, all of them inhabit in the antimatter. We have three states: no matter, antimatter, and matter. Okay, each universe, since there are more than 1.5 millions of universe, okay, has its creator father. The one who touched us is Nevadon. He doesn't move from the source, which we would say is like his office. In it, he designed everything he wants to be created to put it in evolution or ascension, since there are the two ways to transcend and learn. In the antimatter, everything is perfect. There is no imperfection. Cosmic consciousness develop up to a point in antimatter because as everything is perfection. There is up to a point of development, but it is limited. The idea of Nevadon, when matter didn't exist yet, through an equation with his quantum engineers, was to transform the antimatter into matter. The antimatter has everything that we have in matter, but it cannot be touched. For example, the beings in the antimatter created the stones, but they cannot be touched because they are made of tachyons, and they remain without being able to experiment in matter. Nevadon's idea was to make everything he designs in an intangible way through this formula to be able to experiment it in matter. And from there, his engineers transformed the tachyons into baryons and made the antimatter. The universe of matter are the photocopies of the universes, where they are in a tangible way. Therefore, they had to create what we call races or containers so that the fractals could come to inhabit matter. As matter has gases, chemicals, it has atmosphere. They had to create containers that could inhabit matter, to corrosive agents of matter. Once the containers were designed, manufactured, or created throughout the universe, someone had to give them anima or life, so that they could experiment and learn everything that is designed. What Nevadon himself did was to clone himself informatically in a monad. A monad is the cloning, in a computer sense, enclosed or contained in a file of electrons that has all the information of the creator Nevadon. After this, the idea was to fractalize it into millions of fractals. And those fractals of souls or monad, we are the ones who inhabit the containers to come to experience matter. Therefore, we are exactly a fractal of the Creator. That is why we are co-creators with the Creator, or we ourselves are God or gods. This is why we call ourselves make as imaging of the Father. Okay? We come to this planet to experience the matter that our Creator cannot experience by himself for being in antimatter, to bring him this information in some way, and to be in this planet first as a supermonad disassembled, then a monad, and then the fractals that come out of the monad are the souls that inhabit the human containers. From the last fractalization comes out each soul that inhabits the human body container. This is where the soul comes. This is amazing, an amazing information, because this is really true. Nobody talk about this ever. In how many parts can this fractal that comes down from the monad be fractalized? This is the question, and now I'm coming with the answer. In the antimatter, it vibrates with very high voltage. That is why the frequency is lowered through fractalization. Here, it doesn't resist so much voltage, and we have to lower it until it is a voltage of electrons compatible with the human body, as basic as ours, since we start in third dimension, and this is the densest dimension where it vibrates the least. So the question of fractalization is to lower the voltage content. More than one we'll have here of spontaneous combustion. This is because a soul doesn't assemble well in a human body. A soul that comes very high is assembled in a very basic body, and this happens. Spontaneous combustion. You have to go coupling, balance, atomic file, voltage, electron file, and biological molecular body, all within a range of a frequency. Then, the most adaptable voltage to assemble in a biological body is the fractalized monad, in 12 fractals minimum or 144 fractals maximum for each minimum monad. Regarding the diamond light that contains a soul, can this be explained? What relation does it have with the spirit? Is it the same? What is the difference? What is the spirit and what is the soul? There are several terminologies here on Earth to name the same things, because for the different cultures and colonies there are different ways of speaking. It is not the same as they speak in India, as the Mayans speak, or as they speak in the West. This happens on Earth because there are different cultures, but from the Earth out to the universe level there is a way of speaking. Nothing more than speaking or understanding the concepts. Outside the planet Earth, the light of the spirit is exactly the soul of the Creator Nevadon. What are we talking about when we speak of a spirit? Of the soul, specifically, of our own Creator, Father, the one that Jesus said, I work at the right hand of my Father. Or, for example, in the original Our Father, that has nothing to do with the one of the Catholic religion, by the way. It says Father, Mother, Essence of Son, etc. This Father is called Nevadon. The soul part of this being is called Spirit. The word spirit comes from spiral, because everything that is having action in the universe from something must necessarily make its appearance in the form of a spiritual turn, always ascending in movement and in a counterclockwise direction. Every being that is part of that movement in ascension is a spiritual being. It comes from spiral. What is the purpose of calling the soul of Nevadon light of the spirit? Light because it is the form in which Nevadon vibrates. Nevadon vibrates in light frequency, and it's called spirit because all the souls that are in fractals have to make an ascending spiral path until returning to the source and being one with the Creator. Our soul fractal is ascending according to the experiences until we are back to the source and our fractal merge again with the light of the spirit of the Creator. This is called the law of the one because it is a universal law that is the fusion of all the fractals with the original. And this is the path we are making right now. This is why we are ascending to the third dimension, from third dimension to fifth dimension, because we are doing this spiral ascending way to end up in the fusion with the source again, because all we are one. The diamond energy is exactly the same as the light of the spirit. In the universe, it is called diamond light. In religion, it is known as the Holy Spirit. Father, Mother, and Son, Holy Spirit. In quantum physics, as it is a frequency that gives an energy, it's called diamond energy because it vibrates as the same frequency of the diamond vibrates. So beautiful. This is so beautiful. We are gods. We are exactly the same creator package in a molecular biology. We can we can function in our reality just like the creator, co-creating just like the creator, co-creates thanks to the Cadiz2 code or caduceus. It is a code that we have assembled in the DNA that allows us to be identical to the creator here in matter and on earth. It is true when it says that we are all the creator or that we have him inside. What sense would it make to be very faithful to a God to whom I pray if then I heard our brother and I heard that God to whom I pray? So we are God, but my brother is God too. So if I pray to a God and then I hurt my brother, I'm hurting the God I'm praying. This is not making sense. This is why religion is coming down some. This is my opinion. Well, this is my notes. Not only if we hurt a brother and this bounce back to the source, but the whole cluster of Nevadon, which is our cluster, since there are many, many universes and each one is different and works with a different program, our universe works with the design of Nevadon, which is a Christic or Michaelic system, which is the same. Nevadon designed a whole system of dodecahedral mesh structures, which is what we know as the flower of life that contains the whole. Everything we do here on Earth, or where we have incarnated, everything the soul fractal does, good or bad, has repercussions in the whole universe, because it is transmitted through that network structure that we know as the flower of life. The flower of life is this design. So everything is connected by this mesh with the form of the flower of life, okay? Now, in the fifth terrestrial dimension, for the first time in the evolution of the planet since Homo sapiens, it is the first time that we are going to learn to work unconditional love, to start working neutrality, in which there will no longer be positive polarity or negative polarity. An alchemy is made between the two, and we put ourselves in neutral mode. Electron, proton, neutron, electron, proton, neutron. An alchemy is made between electron and proton, and we use the neutron through the neutrinos, and we all become light, only light. There will be no negative polarity in the fifth dimension. From now on, we will be able to see and understand through everything we are going to learn in the fifth terrestrial dimension, how everything we have done wrong on Earth has had repercussions in the universe, without judgment outside. They have simply been experiences in the densest dimension, so that our soul can learn everything that it never has to do again, because it has done it wrong. I don't know why my nose is itches. Sorry. I think it is an ascension symptom. So, we are all connected, as I say, and what one does wrong is reflected in the whole universe. We have to overcome the judge and all the polarities, positive and negative. How does the soul attach itself to the body? This is specifically taken care of by geneticists who work in matter. They are of races of higher dimensions than ours, and they are in charge of this. They are stellar doctors, but genetic doctors who work aligned with the source. All beings who work alike to Nevadon with the certainty that they are not going to be misaligned are also called Cadiz2 beings or races. The geneticists that have worked the most in this are of the Shinabu race, Kingugabar race. There are two races that are the first geneticists of the mother of the universe today in very high planes. And the closest geneticists that have designed how to assemble the soul to the human body are the geneticists that was in charge of creating our container, that is Enki or Saham, who is currently not working for the fifth dimension. Currently working for us is the geneticist and ship commander known by the title Toranke from the Alpha Centauri system. There is some improvement and variation in the soul assembly, as it has been in the third dimension for human bodies, and now the current geneticist Toranke has made an improvement in the assembly for souls coming into human bodies, in the fifth dimension, thus having an upgrade to the soul assembly. The soul is a sphere-shaped bag that is a field of electrons that houses a fractal in voltage of the light of the spirit of the Creator himself, that has to be coupled to the human body at the moment in which the geneticists specifically take care of assembly. It when the mother is gestating the fetus, okay? They make it enter to the crown chakra, since this is a portal that we have to connect directly. It's also called Antakarana bridge. The chakras are portal to connect us to some things. And the crown chakra is a portal through which we are in direct connection with the source, with the Creator Nevadon. Through that portal enters the file of electron that is the soul to the fetus in the belly of the mom. And it lodges specifically in the cerebral neocortex, because it is there where later we need to start using that connection with the source. We do it through the machinery of the pineal gland, cerebral neocortex, pituitary, etc. This file of electrons, there is the soul that contains the light of the spirit, our soul, enters through the crown chakra in etheric, and then enters physically when passing the crown chakra, which is a portal that is physically transformed, densified, and placed specifically as voltage at the level of the corpus callosum. This is a tissue that unites the two cerebral lobes. Above the corpus callosum is the pineal gland. Then between the corpus callosum and the pineal gland is housed this file of electron that is the soul for the human body. Okay? For the third dimension, Enki, our geneticist, and his team of stellar doctors made the soul enter at 3 months of gestation of the fetus. Currently, all human beings are assembled with a soul at 49 days of gestation. We have to take into account this data because it is very important to be able to treat young children. Because the soul, for a matter of slowly accommodating the voltage it contains so as not to send it all at once the voltage it contains, the total installation takes exactly the entire first 7 years. It is not installed all at once. For that reason, children are born with their heads open, and it remains open, because through a cord of electrons the soul enters during the first 7 years of life. But it was not always like that. Now we are in the 49 days, the soul is assembled. But for the third dimension was at 3 months of gestation. As now they are being born directly in fifth dimension, because now only those who will form the population of fifth dimension are being born. Then the voltage they bring is higher than the assembly in third dimension. Assembly needs to be done before because they bring a lot of voltage. So let's go now to the soulmate issue. Is soulmate the same as twin flame? Is this true or false? It is true that we are looking for a soulmate. And conceptually, we are going to differentiate soulmate from twin flame. It's not the same. We were talking about the last fractalization of the monad. That is what is sent to incarnate in human bodies. For each mini-monad, this is fractalized between 12 and 144 fractals. Then twin soul is each one of the souls of those between 12 and 144. The 144 souls are not always fractalized. One monad can be fractalized in 144 and another can be fractalized in 50, for example. If from the same monad or souls, 50 fractals are fractalized and 50 different molecular biologies are sent to incarnate, all of them are twin souls because they all come from the same monad. We don't have only one soulmate. We have up to 144. And we have to understand that the elders of days, with whom the souls arrange the contract to come to incarnate, there is not only the planet Earth, but in the solar system we have Jupiter, Venus, Mars, Mercury, then in Orion, in Sirius, in Andromeda. And the souls or the fractal of the same monad don't send them all to incarnate in the same planet. We can spend a lot of time trying to find a soulmate here on Earth, and yes, you can have 50 soulmates coming to incarnate in the same planets, but they are not coming together. You can have 20 fractals incarnated on Earth and the rest on other planets, and you can search and search for your soulmate, and you will not find them because the rest of the fractals are incarnated on other planets or solar system. This is the soulmate, and we don't have only one soulmate. We have to know that we have a minimum of 12 soulmates and a maximum of 144 soulmates. With a lot of luck, 2 can be found here on Earth. But this is my note. I suspect we have some soulmates here on Earth incarnated. So, not always the soulmate is going to be a woman and a man. It can be a woman and a woman, a child, your grandfather. It is not always going to be a couple. So, perfectly, your soulmate can be a grandmother, or it can be within the plant kingdom. Trees are soul beings like us. In the tree format inhabit soul fractals, and it can perfectly be a tree, your soulmate. And on the other hand, twin flame is not the same as the soul fractal derived from the monad. The term twin flame is used because we refer to the frequency that uses that soul fractal. Generally, when twin flames are sent to do a service, they vibrate in a very high frequency and then come with the sense of incarnating to experiment and evolve. The twin flames that are of 7 different frequencies that we know as the 7th frequency of the rainbow or the 7 archangels, according to how each one wants to interpret it, those twin flames come to service. Then it's necessary that they enter the planet incarnating in a biology like ours, but working that certain frequency, because by doing that, they will do a certain service that is requested from above by the spiritual hierarchies. And now I have to apologize because I don't have a pause button and I have to go to the bathroom. Sorry. myself coming back. But everything is okay. So sorry for this little interruption. I wake up really late today. My astral travels at night has been really hard those days. And I take my morning routine with a lot of liquids to make my body a little bit alkaline. So I had to go to the bathroom. But I'm coming back. I'm gonna continue. So the same cosmic beings that come down to do that same service through their frequency or their flame, we're talking about twin flames, up from where they come from, they are androgynous beings, and their divine feminine and their divine masculine are fused. When they come here, they separate, because on Earth, the divine feminine and the divine masculine are packaged in different genders, in a woman's body and in a man's body. And in order to come to Earth and incarnate, they separate and uncouple the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Each one will incarnate in female or male bodies. And then, when they are incarnated here in mission, they will find again the twin flames, because it's necessary to rework the frequency with which they come to work. For example, the famous 144,000 twin flames that now come to make the critical mass to link to the crystal network that the planet has as of the year 2012, we talked about that in the first video, are 72,000 women incarnated with a specific frequency of flame that vibrates much higher than the souls that came to experience nothing else, and came with 72,000 masculine men with male body, with whom they have to unite on Earth as a couple to complement the divine feminine and the divine masculine to do the task that they were given to do. The twin flames are frequency with a service. If they need to come with their divine complement and have nothing to do with the function or the concept of soulmate. But as a particular note of myself, I can relate that not all the twin flames are men and women, okay? This is my note, because this video was made 1 year ago, and in this 1 year I have checked a lot of things like this. Not all of them are men and women. An example of these flames can be Sananda, Lady Nada. For those who still don't know them by that name, we will say that they were also known as Jesus and Mary Magdalene. That from where they came to do service were Sananda and Lady Nada, they were asked to come to do a service, and when they incarnate, they did it as Jesus and Mary Magdalene, okay? So, are there soulless people on the planet? Why has that been allowed? And yes, they are. They are called organic portals, those bodies that function perfectly with all the sense, etc. But they are not inhabited by a soul. They are animated in another way. It isn't that it was a law or not a law, as if it was something bad that would have been allowed anyway. We must understand that the planet Earth is of what is known as decimal. That is, there is 1 for every 10 in the universe, and it is a laboratory of DNAs. In fact, our planet is a living DNA library. It contains the DNAs of everything that is alive in the galaxy, whether it is the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, underwater, aerial, etc. 8,000 trillion living DNAs, because we are a living library. Therefore, there is not only us and the organic portals, but there is on the planet all kinds of things, and it is allowed because this is a laboratory planet of the universe. How do we realize that someone is an organic portal? This is something really, really important and really interesting to know, because for all the things that coming soon, okay? Yes, an organic portal functions exactly the same as we do. The only thing they don't know is to feel love. They don't have the ability to feel the positive emotion in the light, which is precisely what characterizes us as fractals of Nevadon, and through the assembled Kadist code to be able to act spontaneously without having learned it, as being of unconditional love. Many races that are stagnant before becoming extinct or negativized have, have been allowed to come to the planet and take samples of human DNA to implant it in their own DNA to try to improve their race. On the other hand, there are also cultures on other planets that are stagnant socioculturally for many years, and as the human race has within the Kadistu code the infinity. That is to say that we are infinite in everything, without limits of any kind. This civilization also come to observe us, and for that they implant us in the etheric to follow us for a great amount of time and copy us in the cultural development. We must take into account that a race that stagnates and remains like this for a determined period of time ends up becoming extinct. What role dogma play in the development of the soul? Why do so many people get involved in this religious practice? So, before the Garden of Eden, beginning with Adam and Eve, the Kadistu code was adjusted for the soul so rapidly. Through a thought adjuster, increased the speed of progress in the process of merging with the source or ascension to fulfill the law of one. There have been civilizations on this planet for eons. It is not true that life on the planet began with Adam and Eve. But those civilizations were not connected to spirit. It was a time of Cro-Magnon, Iron Age, etc. In the star system of Alcyone, which is a very large sun of the Pleiades with 7-star system, there are administrative offices from where they administers the hierarchy of the Pleiades that are aligned to the plan of the Nevadon source. These hierarchies were in charge of the planet, hence the famous Jehovah or Jehovah energy, which came from there to begin to channel those archaic civilizations. To do so, they create an administrative system that they put together according to each civilization. What we know each civilization, what we know as religious, to prepare groups of the most advanced of each civilization to begin to understand the notion of what the spirit was, and thus to have a certain terrestrial population prepared for when the Adamic moment arrived, like now. Between one thing and the other, however, several things happen, such as the fall of humanity, the rebellion of Luzbel or Lucifer, and as the consequence of that, portals were opened through which certain very dark reptilian races, supporters of Luzbel, entered the planet, violating the original plan that was had for the Earth and the human race, in order to stop the moment of reconnection of the entire human race for the first time with the spirit, and thus hinder the evolution or almic ascension. These races make negotiation and alliance with the negative polarity of the lower astral of the planet. These races infiltrated the first dogmas or priesthoods that were established in this civilization, so that these private beings would begin to align themselves with the spirit. They infiltrated so deeply that they end up taking over all dogmas and all religion, disguising themselves as beings of light. They lead humanity and the spiritual level to deviate from the original plan. Seen from today, what this hierarchy of Pleiades did was to modify the software, and they have erased from the fifth dimension the dogma and religious program, because it became so dirty and deviated so much from its purpose that a new software has been placed in which all humans are going to make the connection with the spirit again, continuing with the loved one from the fifth dimension, but under another plan. The plan get really fucked up because of the reptilian races. This time we will not work through dogmas and religions. From this moment to 2026 and 2030, religions will no longer exist. The connection to spirit will be made through the higher I am, without failures, without intermediaries, without manipulation, direct connection. This is going to be amazing. Direct connection with the source, not more religions or dogmas. Thank you, baby. So, what happened to the souls of the cremated? What happened to the soul in sorrow? This is a question for the people who were watching the live video or live. Sorry. So, what happened to the souls of the cremated? What happened to the souls in sorrow? So nothing happens differently from the rest of the souls, no matter how they pass away. As already explained in the previous program, when the soul disembodies, it is because the material body has already expired, and when it leaves the body, it goes to the waiting worlds of the fourth dimension, planes 6 and 7. Then, there are particular cases such as the soul that disembody in very low frequency and go to the lower planes. But for that, there are the stellar doctors who treat them and take them to the higher planes. How the physical body dies makes no difference to the soul, and where it goes once, it leaves the body. The souls in pain are the ones that remain in the levels below 6 and 7, which are the waiting worlds of the fourth dimension, and they are kind of lost because they are in low frequency, and what they want is to recouple with the physical body of a living human, to return to be on the side of the material world, simply because they don't understand that they must go to the other side, to the higher planes. What any human who sees or perceives a soul in pain can do is to place it in the central axis, which is the channel that each one of us has. And from our unconditional love, ask the guides above and the soul in pain to place itself in the central channel, and in this way it goes directly and without escape to where it should go. On the other side, there are hierarchy guides who are waiting for those souls and who take them with them and place them where they have to be placed. So, another question. How do you know if you encountered as a service or to fulfill an experience? How do you know if you incarnate as a service or to fulfill an experience? Does that have to do with the state of vibration? Yes, it has to do with the state of vibration. If you come to learn an experience and not to do service of anything, if you come to learn something that you could not learn in another incarnation, of course the vibration will be lower. As for example, if you come to learn to integrate the ego, who comes to service has a higher vibration, since the vibration of a Reiki is not the same as that of a human who came to transcend the ego. But this is a note I'm gonna do. I know really good Reiki people, and they are working the ego, which is really quite big. So you have to see how this is working. It is taking a service, not only the spiritual, but other works such as holistic healers, who in the current times of change from third dimension to fifth dimension help to calibrate many people who are very much in third dimension, who sign by vital contract to move to fifth dimension through the manipulation of energy. But all of us humans, and this is another note of myself, all of us human has to work in some way the ego. So the ego is a trap right now to the ascension path. Okay, this is a really strong test or proof. however is used to meditate, can reach a meditative state in which the veil is erased in such a way that they realize for themselves what they came for, because they enter their own Akashic records. Or they can go to an Akashic record reader and ask directly, what did I come to do in this incarnation? If you want to know. This question is really interesting. Are the 144,000 related to the 144,000 named in the Apocalypse of the Bible? The same. They are all already incarnated. They are 72,000 women and 72,000 men who have a specific DNA with a specific frequency and a much higher voltage than any of us. Between them, they are twin flames, and their service is to install their DNA to the new program of the flower of life, which is the current Christ grid of planet Earth, to put into operation this Christ software. Can the twin flames be that one incarnates and the other stays outside the planet? No. The flames come in pairs, feminine and masculine, and to the same place because they must work together. What happens with the foods, fruits, and vegetables that we eat as vegetarians? What happened to their process when we consume them? This is an interesting question. If we consume nothing more than that, than what was brought from a planet called Edentia, hence the Garden of Eden, from which all the food plants were brought that were designed to sustain life through photosynthesis, but have no souls inhabiting them and therefore can be eaten perfectly well. They were even designed without sensitivity sensors so they don't feel pain. So it's like there is a group of vegetables and food come from this planet Edentia, which is known by the Garden of Eden, and they don't have a soul. So this is really interesting. Can one incarnate in a vegetable or animal and then in a human body and vice versa? Not as an administration of the plant. As we come to evolve from the lowest to the highest, the soul package comes incarnating accordingly to the vibration. The lowest vibration is in the terrestrial first dimension, which is the mineral world, stones, minerals, mountains, etc. Then we have what is called the first incarnational wave, in which the first wave of soul goes to incarnate to the third dimension world, the soul of the mountains. When that cycle ends, all that soul establishment goes to the second plane, second dimension plane, which is the plant kingdom. When this cycle ends, we have the wave of soul pass to the third dimension, which is the human world. So if for a specific reason, a service or an experimentation for a database that needs to have a soul fractal is specifically asked the 24 elders of day to send it to incarnate, for example, in the body of a dog, because he needs to know something specifically, but this is not the normal, okay? So, he's a human who has been incarnated in several lifetimes as a human, but he's preparing for something, and then he's sent to reincarnate once, specifically to another realm, different from the one he's in by way. Otherwise, the path that is made is always ascending. The ideal is to create a body on the third day, but what happens if you can't wait the 3 days? No, sorry, there was a misinformation here. The ideal is to cremate a body on the third day. But what happens if you cannot wait the 3 days? What happens to that soul when you cremate a body after death? This depends on how the person was frequently at the time of death. All the souls that are dying at this moment for the reasons we already know about health are the ones that sign not to pass to the fifth dimension, which they choose with free will. And therefore, they are being taken out en masse from the planet because the third dimension period on the planet is over and they have to leave. Likewise, by ending their life contract for this reason, they are leaving because of terminal cancer in 2 months or cardiac heart attack or any other reason. Generally speaking, by special dispensation, for these forms of quick sorry, we're gonna close the door. We have a lot of noise outside. Sorry. So I'm gonna start again with the answer of this question about cremate a body. Generally speaking, by special dispensation for these forms of quick death to leave the planet fast, nothing happens because there are at this moment around the Earth 6 mother ships from the major star system full of geneticists and star doctors, attaching the soul in the astral and taking them directly to the ships because they are all the souls who sign not to be in the change to the 5th dimension. So everything is the dog sit on the table. Another interruption today. We have a lot of things happen here, like the dog. Nube, what happened with you? Huh? Did you understand me talking English? Yeah? No. No. No, lay down on the floor, please. I don't know if the dog understands already English, but it's okay. So, after the ships, they send them directly to incarnate on other planets so that they continue their 3rd dimension evolution that they had here, okay? And those who have chosen not to continue with the 3rd dimension evolution, the medical geneticists at the time of disembodiment reconnect them with their cryogenic biological bodies from the star system where they originally come from and send them back home. This is quite interesting. We will talk about this in another program. And can it be that they don't live? Can it be that they don't live, that they don't die, even if they have not signed the contract, that their life is extended beyond what is stipulated in the contract? Like, okay, you sign a date in a contract, but they're going to make an extension. No, that doesn't happen. Everyone lives at the moment stipulated in the life contract, neither before nor after. If the soul doesn't want to leave, there comes a time when it begins to lose frequency of the silver core, which is the one that holds us together with the body until it loses validity and dies anyway. This is so that no one is left out of the contract. So, I finish, and I want to say some words because all this video I'm making, I'm alone, so I gonna take approach of this video to throw this request, like if someone who wants to help me in this labor I'm doing with the 5th dimension extension and the information of Andrea Bernabé and Nati Fabiano, I would love to start to make these videos in live on YouTube, okay, probably in Facebook too, because I know it will reach more people. So this is my request. If you want to help me, just send me a message, a private message on Facebook or on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I will encourage you to share this content, this video, because it's a really, really valuable information, and it's going to help a lot of people to understand what is coming and what are we doing here, what is the function of everything, out of the religious, out of the dogmas, from the quantum physics, because Andrea makes this explanation. The information is really, really valuable. I have been listened to the programs from 1 year ago. Actually, it's really, really useful to have this information, because you can check what they say with your normal life. And there is a lot of confusion in the spiritual new age era, which is in the third dimension, was the old paradigm of spirituality. So thank you. If you reach to this point, I'm gonna say thank you. Please, if you want to help grow this channel, give a like and share, and you can subscribe to the channel too. Thank you again, and see you next week with another chapter. Oh, the next week we are going to take again the fifth dimension, part 2, and it's really, really interesting information about the fifth dimension. See you.